Okay. God, my ears feel stuffed. Wild. Right, we are live on YouTube and live on Twitch. Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the Daily Peak. I'm very awake, as you can tell. I used my sleep meds yesterday, like properly. I've woken up with a headache. And I feel drier than usual. It's a great time. I need to be drinking more water. But yeah, howdy everybody. So real quick, I am going to take my morning meds. If you guys have meds to take and you haven't taken them yet, I'd advise you do so now. I'm gonna be taking this stuff with a Lost and Found Orange Scream energy drink, assuming my hands are strong enough. Which I will say, they could not have been. I fell asleep on my hand. And when I woke up this morning, it was entirely numb. Anyway, down the hatch. Ugh. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and boot up the game. Gods, you guys, I am so awake. I'm so awake. If we want to circle around to mound makers, I'm feeling better about all of it. Notably, I've been moving stuff into the fermentation hall. Because previously we had just like a bunch of barrels set up in a room. And it was disorganized enough that no one really knew what was going on in there. So I've changed the setup. But yeah. Fuck me. That was most of the vintage story I did yesterday. I was also testing some mod compatibility. Because I'm looking into starting a personal server. But that's like a longer term goal. You know, it's a much longer term thing. And I am not there yet. I'm very awake. I forgot what I was saying. I forgot what the first half of that sentence was. Yeah, it was mostly self-improvement on the prospector's part, which is absolutely fine. In some sense preferred. We're not looking to cut ourselves off entirely, but we are limiting our interactions with the politics, because they are challenging my mental health, and also, like, no one else is super interested in them, so we want to stay out of things. So yeah, I'm gonna crank the volume on my microphone, because I've just realized I've probably been accidentally nudging it down a lot. But yeah, my hope is we keep growing. That's one. Oh, I made the tailoring hall, even though all of our tailors have just left, which sucks. I still wish I could have gotten some earlier notice on that, so I at least didn't carve out a tailor's hall before we lost every single one of our tailors in the fucking Exodus. Have we been mistreating our tailors? Because they were top priority in the remodel. Anyway. Lovely. I fucking love the rescue claw. I love the idea of a challenge where you replace all items with rescue claws. And then you are not allowed to move manually outside of the, like, 4 steps you take to the nearest luggage. Love how malfunctioning my body is. Yeah, I have hiccups now. Yeah, if I seem less with it than in previous streams, this is because sleep meds. That's not even me, like, you know, blaming him unfairly. This is just basically a listed side effect, you know? I'm EP. But yeah. I'm still liking how things are going. We're gonna need to recruit a new tailor just so we have access to, like, sewing kits and tailored brigandine. But that should be fine. It's not a huge issue. Even without a tailor, we can still produce some warm clothes and all that. So it's not like we're gonna die. But yeah. Now I can make that. Okay. I am so close to the top. Airline food, granola bar, eat the granola bar now. Wait to cook the airline food. Bleh. Wonder if it's gonna be roots or tropics today. I have no idea. Oy. I continue to be infinity awake. Well, I hope it's the roots now. Oh, wait, hold on. Hell yeah. Not even, you're still consuming a whole item to, get that improvement. It's just, no. Ah, tropics. Oh, well. Okay, what's going on here? Nothing abnormal as far as I can tell. I'm still operating off the high of remembering that I have fortified milk. That I feel was very cool of me. That I need infinity compliments right now. Imagine I'm putting a gun to your head. I don't have a gun or the capacity to put it to your head, but imagine I am doing both of those things. Crane game. That'd be a good name for a rescue claw only challenge. Cause yeah. Howdy, how's it going, Morgan? Morgan Garner D9W. Wild username, by the way. It better not just be a full name situation. Online safety. Damn. Okay, a lot of good items lying around here. Damn. Okay. Ayo. Great. You get it. I'm so awake. The more often I say it, the more true it becomes, actually. Alright. I'm sure out there is a strategic grappling game that would fit with how I imagine Crane game going. But I think it would be very funny to do it as a peak challenge. As opposed to, like, a dedicated puzzle platformer that would work well. Alright. And fuck me. Okay. Okay. Well, better than nothing. Alright. Oh. Nice. What's most important here? Yeah, no, that feels like a bad idea. Let's go this way. There we go. God damn it. Okay. Oh, fuck me. Really? I hate the rain. I hate the rain so much. Because at least the wind is like a little easier to compensate for. You know, you can do it actively. The rain, it's just, alright, stop moving. It's not even, it punishes climbing in the climbing game. As opposed to the winds, which make you grab the walls, aka start climbing. You know, in the climbing game. Not to sound like all of Reddit every time the Tropics does anything, but Jesus. What? I did not think that was gonna go as well as it did, I'm gonna be honest. I'm just gonna let this run until I stop having brute damage on my health. Okay. I don't know. The rain feels like a very straight up hazard. It feels like an obvious choice, you know? Like, you are trying to go up, the rain pushes you down. But I think I still prefer the method of, like, you are trying to go up and the wind pushes you sideways. Or the cold tells you to take cover. You know? The spores impose a cost. As opposed to the rain, which tells you to stop moving. I don't know. It's one of those game design choices I personally feel like I'd weed out, but I honestly can't guarantee that. I'm not a game studio either, so it's also the matter of, oh yeah, it is a tropical rainforest. There is no more obvious, like, obstacle that you can have than rain. I'm still of the opinion it could be better implemented. Like, it could be some variation of the winds, or like the Alpines take cover or whatever. You know? It's the kind of thing where it's like, ideally, what these environmental hazards are doing is trying to get you to pick different routes that you may not have otherwise taken. You know, that's the level that you should be operating on with them. And without that as like a... Like, if you've settled on the tropics, I can see coming up with the rain as it is. I think it needs work. I don't know, it's not just because I don't like it. I just feel like it's really easy to dodge, and it's like harder than any of the other environmental hazards to push through. Like, there's no risk-reward factor. It costs more to climb in the rain. So stop climbing. Because the blizzards in the Alpine, as well as the Mesa's sun, both encourage you to stay on the interior of the biome as opposed to the exterior. Which is usually not necessarily a more difficult time, but it is a... It's not a more difficult climb, but it is a climb with a very different approach, you know? I'm a fan of those hazards. The approach to the Alpine is a little annoying, but otherwise, it's great. But the tropics rain feels like... I don't know. I feel like if you're gonna have rain, it should be... maybe like monsoon season. And it pushes you down to like a nearby platform, or it fills up like otherwise empty rivers in the area. So it's like, yeah, no, you can make your way up these riverbeds. It's a super easy climb. As long as you are pretty sure that the rain isn't gonna happen soon, because when it does, it's gonna push you right off the mountain. Like how the waterfall hazards already work. I like the idea of that being more consistent, maybe? Because I don't know, maybe it's just a personal preference, but I like forced movement you can shelter from, as opposed to fuck you entirely. Because, I mean, the rain would be fine if it was also encouraging you to take an alternate path. But there really isn't that much in the way of, like, you know, caves or hollows in the tropics. Like, it's not encouraging you to take an alternate path, Because an alternate path doesn't exist. There's just the external bits, and it's not like hide under trees or anything to avoid getting pushed. It's, you know, stop wherever you are. It doesn't feel like the most interesting way it could be implemented. I don't know. All of this discussion is tempting me to learn how to make game mods for the sole purpose of making Rain revamped. Hey, Digi. Just talking about game design. Because I don't like how the rain is implemented in the tropics, which is a very common complaint. But I have researched game design, so I feel less bad about just yelling about it. This isn't just old man yells at cloud. This is old woman provides alternatives. Oh, Fairy Lantern's dead. Oh well, nice while it lasted. I absolutely love how fast you can fling items, because that just faded into the distance immediately. Yeah, my proposal with the reason why I dislike the rain, but like other environmental hazards, my thought is the other environmental hazards encourage you to take a different route. So like the Alpine will force you to the interior of the mountain if you are on the exterior. And the interior of the mountain is hostile enough in itself that it will try and force you to the exterior. So you have the option between an easier climb where you are facing more obstacles from the fact that you have like less stamina, or mixing up with sticking on the interior, encountering more like hazards in there, like the various like cold rocks and stuff. So you're facing off against those hazards instead of just, you know, in the tropics, the rain tells you to stop moving, as opposed to the alpine storms telling you to take a different path. Because you could, in other circumstances, argue that the rain is trying to encourage you onto a different path, and I would posit, where the fuck is that path then? Because I've not seen an internal route anywhere on the tropics. One of those, like, I feel like the hazard could have been better thought out as it was implemented. Because I also like the scorching sun of the mesa. Because similarly to how it works in the Alpine, the scorching sun tells you to take an internal route. It tells you to move into the caves instead of trying to climb the outside. And just like the Alpine, it makes the approach annoying, but it doesn't make it, like, unbearable. And there are, like, distinct ways to avoid it. You know, especially with, like, cold damage and heat damage, like all of these temperature sources of damage. They all have, like, a suite of dedicated items to counter them. And then you hit, like, the tropics rain, and it's like, you can't wear a fucking raincoat or anything. There's nothing that can help you. Sit still, boss. Stay on that ledge and pray that the rain doesn't last more than a couple seconds. you don't get to climb while you're playing the climbing game for the next, like, 20 seconds. And it doesn't give you an opportunity to, like, pause and look ahead. It's not encouraging you to, you know, think about the route you're on. Because it also obscures your vision entirely. I could accept it if it didn't do that, and you got the chance to, you know, plan out your route a little bit more. Or if it did the vision obscuring like a little harder, and it didn't do the making all movement cost more. It's it's a system that could be much better implemented, I am sure. And, like, the only thing I see the community at large talking about is just, like, patch it out. You know, get rid of the rain entirely. And it's like, no, I don't want to get rid of the one thing that makes the tropics unique. You know? It's a tropical rainforest. It should rain there. My problem is that it is not incentivizing a different play style. It is just telling you to stop moving. It's like, hey, don't climb in your climbing game. We're punishing climbing for the next 20 seconds. Sit here and look at the sky, which is entirely fog at the moment. Sit here and stare into the fog. But yeah, that's me complaining about the rain. It's a system I feel could be much better implemented. Even if you're just using it to, like, obscure sight and sound. Like, the rain overwhelms the local voice chat and makes it so you can't see where you're going, because, like, a fog sets in. But it doesn't stop you from climbing more. It just puts you in a situation where it's like, okay, I can no longer see where I'm climbing. Or, I can't watch the ground for all of those poison bushes, so you start encountering the poison more. And it's like, I can't communicate with my friends nearly as easily. We have to shout over the rain. So we have to, like, you know, huddle up with each other so we don't get lost. Much like how the rain, not the rain, the alpine storms force you to huddle up with each other for warmth. Oh my god. Or if we're making it more like other examples in the same, like, biome region, the spores in roots limit what paths are available to you, or it adds an extra level of risk to taking those paths. Where it's like, yeah, you could even out the terrain directly surrounding some of those spore mushrooms, and the cost is you have to run through a cloud of spores, risking your health. Like, you risk your max stamina to do an easier climb, or, you know, this is the only route available, you've gotta risk going through the spore cloud, or whatever. And it's like, yeah, that changes what paths you're going to take. It limits the easy path, you know. As opposed to the rain, which it doesn't impact the paths you're taking, it just tells you to stop. And do nothing, aggressively. So, like, if you wanted to have, you know, more movement restriction in the tropics, the rain could flood the area. So either there is a ground level water rising, or there is like obviously demarcated like waterfall areas or dry riverbeds or whatever that then become entirely waterlogged. And it's like, yeah, now you have these little bits of the area that are harder to climb through, and you like can see them before you encounter them. So you are making a choice outside of it and risking the chance that the rain comes and ruins this path. You know, it's one of those that, like, the obstacles shouldn't just, like, force you into a corner and tell you to, you know, have a timeout. Like, if it's going to force you to stop, it shouldn't limit your vision, because then it allows you to plan out your route as it's coming ahead, which is a good habit to encourage in your players. And doing that via these annoying little monsoons would be a decent way to do it. But yeah, no. Like, there's a lot of fun alternatives you can have that still makes it so the tropical rainforest has rain in it. Like, under no circumstances do I want that patched out. It is a tropical rainforest. It should have rain. Just the rain shouldn't work like it does. As you can tell, I can't be a beta tester because I would be the most annoying kind. The one who thinks they know better than you. And it's like, yeah, you're making suggestions. Like, just do the job. Because, of course, the most common stereotype of the one who is better than you, or the one who thinks they're better than you, is that their suggestions aren't typically any good, you know? It's like, I think I'm doing good here. But yeah, no, I can see myself attempting to do beta testing for a game and getting kicked off for providing too many suggestions. But yeah, no, I reiterate once again. Yeah, fair. But yeah, I reiterate once again, this is the climbing game. There should not be an event that punishes climbing. Ow. Huh. Alright, let's see if that one cooked. God fucking damn it, man. What are you doing? Oh, wait. No, the other one did cook. Okay. It just exploded twice. Nice. I'm so good at this shit. I've already got a first aid kit, so I'll use the one I have to do a little healing. And then, yeah. But yeah, I have just enough game design knowledge to be dangerous. I do love that I'm getting my favorite biomes here. I love the Mesa. The Mesa is one of my favorites. I would kiss Sloppy Style with the Mesa. Have I ever watched Design Doc? I'm certain I have, but I don't remember specifics. but I've watched a lot of like little game design essays. The H Bomber Guy video on Dark Souls was actually pretty formative for me. Because it's like, yeah, you have your medieval fantasy game, and it's like you want to have a shield because those are a staple of how knights work in those games. But shields make the game less fun because they incentivize behaviors in your player that you don't want to be incentivizing. It's like, oh, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And you can start looking at a lot of things through what behavior is this element of the game incentivizing in our players. So I do a lot of that. I do a lot of analyzing on that basis. And it's like, what is this teaching people when it comes to, like, how to play our game? You know? What is there an incentive structure? Like, what incentive structure have we created with this rule? I don't know if I can fit my head through there. I am so fucking good at this video game. Have I watched Scruffy? I'm not sure. I very well might have, but I don't recognize the name either. Yeah, I do also love how the devs changed cooking in this game to not just provide like a generic bonus energy thing, because they could have left it at that, and it felt satisfying enough, you know? It's funny to cook things that shouldn't be cooked as well. But I'm liking the added level of strategy that goes into a lot of the stuff here. Especially given that not everything is equally good cooked. Like, you can cook things and bad outcomes will happen, and you will feel like it's your fault because, oh yeah, I should have guessed, you know? Apparently there's a bomb over there. I'll check them out later. Thanks, Digi. But yeah. I do like to look at the incentive structures that you've put in a game above most else. Hey, if I provide a good enough critique on the subreddit, do you think that Landfall will, like, adopt me like a stray cat and take me to Europe? No, I'd probably have to be a mod developer to get that kind of treatment. But yeah. Cook the dynamite? Sounds like a bad idea. I already can't hold it particularly long. I would need a portable stove. And that sounds like a lot of work to get blown up by dynamite extra hard. The interaction between dynamite and the cooking system does work, though, especially with the updates to the cooking system, because it makes it so everything within the explosion radius gets cooked one level. And as far as I can tell, that first level of cooking instantly ignites dynamite even if there is not a player near it. But it also does things like make cure-alls and antidotes explode. Because those are made of glass, and trying to cook them, you know, shatters that glass. But I've just now realized that because what a piece of dynamite does is cook every item in that blast radius a level, in addition to just flinging it in a given direction. That means that it will instantly explode things like oil lamps and fucking cure-alls. And the oil lamps also explode when cooked. So, you know. But it also does things like cook all of the scorpions within the radius, which you saw me use earlier to my advantage. You know, several cooked scorpions are the reason I have a decent chunk of hunger right now. Or the reason I don't have a much more decent chunk of hunger. The reason I am not more hungry right now. There we go. That feels better. Yeah, that's a little system interaction that I didn't spot until just now. I love it. The way that I play this game means that I don't quite interact with that as often as I could. Because I tend to stop in the tropics or roots. Because the tropics and roots are both very hard. I agree that in terms of mechanical complexity, they are roughly at the appropriate, like, locations. Because, like, you can understand I am being chased by bug a lot easier than you can understand I need to run and hide from this cold damage. But still. Like, the biomes are not more or less difficult than the other. They are just as difficult as the Alpine and Mesa. It's just that the threats are easier to understand because it's like, oh yeah, don't walk into the spore cloud, or run away from zombie. So it's like, yeah, you don't need a lot of in-depth mechanical knowledge to avoid that. But it's like, yeah, no, the roots will fucking kill ya. Kill you just as hard as anything else. Because the whole ass mountain wants to kill ya. You know? Yep, okay. I was about to fully blindly walk off that edge. Huh. I'm feeling a little stuck. I may have backed myself into a corner here. Let's take a trip back down. See if there's a better path I can take. What? Oh, god damn it. Ow. Fuck me. Okay. Well, that looks like it's it for today. Thank you very much to everybody who tuned into today's Daily Peek. I really appreciate your viewership. and I will see all of you guys tomorrow. It was almost really cool. I know. I got a medkit save, which almost never happens. But then I hit another ledge. So, what can you do? Alright. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate the viewership, and I will see all of you guys tomorrow. Bye. And fucking take your meds. I do the meds check at the beginning, but no one's ever here for the very beginning. Take your meds.